welcome to our open door Q&A session. Ask us anything. I'm Liz, the email managing marketer here at Charity Digital, and I'll be your host for today's session. I just thought it would be good to start off with a bit of context about our mission for those that don't know. So Charity Digital, we're a charity that help other charities increase their impact by being more digital. We have two primary charitable activities, which are providing access to software products and that charities need at dramatically reduced prices, and also publishing content, articles, podcasts, webinars, etc., and running webinars and events that educate charity professionals and volunteers on how to make better use of digital tools and technologies. Now, we're here today because we want to answer your questions and that you may have about our services that we provide, and we hopefully want to give you as much guidance as we can. Before I carry on, I would just like James and Joel to introduce themselves. So Joel, would you like to go ahead?
Hi, thanks Liz. Afternoon everyone. Yeah, my name is Joel Hogan. I am the Programs Manager here at Charity Digital. Do various roles in the organisation, look after some of our larger partners in some areas, sometimes help out on frontline support. And more recently, I've been doing one-on-one consultations, helped lots and lots of charities and even non-profits as well. I help them transform themselves digitally, had many great conversations about what they could have or what can help their charity grow. And yeah, over to you, James.
Afternoon all, I'm James. I'm the e-commerce manager here at Charity Digital. So I manage the exchange platform. So that's where charities like yourselves can access discounted software, like large discounts provided by the likes of Microsoft, Zoom and Amazon, just to name a few. So I sort of maintain that website, and then any new offers, it's my job to let you know about that. So get an email from the Charity Digital Exchange, or if you'd like to sign up to get those emails, I can send the link. But yeah, that is me.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, James. So before we carry on, I just want to remind you all that this is being recorded. The webinar has been recorded, and the recording and with subtitles and the slides and the supporting resources will be made available to you all over the next coming days. So please keep an eye out for this in your inbox. If you do have a question and you would like this to be answered, please pop it in the chat box. We have received a couple of questions in advance, so thank you to those that have submitted these. And so we'll run through these to start with, and then we'll make our way through the questions that you may pop in the chat as well. Once the session has ended, you will be prompted for feedback, and we would really love you to give us your feelings and thoughts and comments, because this really helps us to better ourselves and to help so we know how we can help your organisation for next time. So please take a few minutes just to share your thoughts with us. So James, without further ado, it's over to you to ask that first question, please.
Yes. So yeah, thank you for attending everyone today. It's nice to see you all. So we've had a submission from Chris, who I believe is here. So Chris says, I've been asked by BHN, which is Chris's organization, to investigate moving their files to the cloud as central storage. Is SharePoint a suitable system, and can I create hierarchical directories with permissions as I would need on an NAS like a QNAP server? A lot of acronyms there, but hopefully, Joel, you've got the gist of that.
Yeah, there. Thanks for submitting that one in advance, Chris. Yeah, I had a look in, obviously, with that for you. So the answer, I would say, is a yes and a yes. So many organisations of all shapes and sizes use SharePoint as their central cloud storage point. It kind of runs alongside OneDrive, where with most 365 subscriptions that includes that type of OneDrive and SharePoint, you get a lot of space. It's up to 1 terabyte in most licenses, and you can also increase that as well by, I think you pay like minimum sums to increase it. I think it's either by 1 gigabyte or 10 gigabytes or so, up to a certain point. I'm not sure what the limits are for that. I haven't come across anyone who's exceeded the limitations. What they tend to do at that point is, if they are exceeding the limitations, is just to obtain a separate license as well. So yeah, a lot of organizations do that. Great thing about moving to like sort of SharePoint and the combination of OneDrive is that because it's within the Microsoft world, you do get the benefit of their added security features compared to maybe some other providers. There are some 365 subscriptions which specifically include some sort of GDPR protection features as well, like something like so if you are handling sensitive data, particularly with our country territory in Europe, GDPR being the law, it's very important. If you're looking for if some of those features are important, you might want to be looking at some of the more higher end 365 subscriptions out there, usually starting from E3 and above, so E3, E5 for the really high end. To keep the costs low as well, with that is I imagine if you are handling sensitive data or anything like that, I imagine not everyone in your charity will be handling all the data all the time. So you can mix and match your subscriptions. So maybe just a few key people who do handle the sensitive data could have one of the more higher line subscription types of 365 and get that extra protection. And yeah, to answer your second question, yes, you can create various hierarchies as well, restrictions on who can access which document or which folders, etc. as well. Hope that helps.
Thank you, Joel.
Thanks very much, Joel. Maybe I can come back to you for some lessons. I've seen a lot of PowerPoint displays and that on how to set it up, but I'm still not quite there yet. So maybe I can come back to one of you for help on that. Yeah,
sure. If you want to book a consultation with me as well, we can go through that. I'll see what sort of find some support tools there for you as well. So my name is pasted all over our website. So you should be able to see a link with my face somewhere where you can book a consultation. I'm more than happy to go through that for you. That's I'd really love to take that further for sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, Chris, I've just pasted that in the chat for you. And just because I know what Joel was saying was very technical and all the different license names, just want to remind you what Elizabeth said earlier. I will be turning all the questions into sort of a Q&A article, and I will send this round afterwards as well. So feel free to make your own notes, but if you miss something, don't worry, I'll send all the links and all the explanations around within the coming days. Great, thank you, Joel and Chris. We've had a question from Ian in the chat. Ian said, I'm the new CEO. We have a CMS, which is Eclipse through OLM, and it's very expensive. Do we have any alternatives?
So briefly, so the CMS questions have just started popping up recently. I don't have an instant answer for you for right now, but I mean, unless someone can take over, but I know that on our content calendar, some information coming out shortly.
Sorry, I think you cut out shortly there, but yeah.
I wasn't too sure that was my internet or Joel's internet there.
Yeah, as Joel said, so we host these meetings quite regularly. We aim for once between every 2 and 3 weeks, and this is a question that has been raised. So we've raised that with our content team, and they will be working on that. So once we have that article, we can send that round to you.
It's just that also it's not just putting the data in, it's actually making sure that we can get the right kind of reports out of it as well, which, I mean, the background is we've been on it for about 18 months and we aren't able to get any reports out yet, which might help with some of our financing as well when we're sending invoices out. But it just seems very expensive for what we've got, that's all.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you.
I have noted that down. I will see what we can do, and I will chat to the content team, because hopefully they've already started researching it. And yeah, we will let you know on that, Ian.
Thank you. I know that Headway UK have had the same kind of question asked via the chief execs meetings, and I know that they've put some things together, but it's just a comparator really that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I think that will be the goal of the article initially, because we've just started receiving queries about CMSs, and I've got a feeling that I don't know the full what the article looks like at this stage, but I imagine there'll be some sort of comparisons. Like we usually try and look at articles which are suitable, offers that are suitable for charities. So initially, I reckon there'll be a good list of alternatives, but obviously we can follow this up there for you with our content team. As James said, the research has already begun.
Thank you, Ian. Were there any other questions you had, Ian? No, all good. Just a reminder, feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we will work our way through them. So we have had a few more submitted in advance, so I will get on to those. Next one is, are charities interested in some sort of software or hardware to help us manage our volunteers' contributions easily so that we can recognise them? We want to log the time that people contribute in an easy way. Is that one for you, Joel, or do you want me to take a look?
Yeah, I mean, we've got our research on it. So there's there's a great system on the market. It's called so we don't provide it, but it's for a great organisation called Volunteero, which will be shared shortly. And they're brilliant. System's brilliant. We've worked with them, recently as well. And it is a volunteer management system. They do offer a free demonstration as well. If you're talking about contributions from a fund perspective, you might want to look at something like Donor Perfect, which is designed for that type of tracking.
Brilliant, thank you for that, Joel. I have pasted anything Joel mentions, I will paste the links when I can into the chat. So they are there for you. Next question. So the next question is about cybersecurity. We recently purchased antivirus for a device that recently became defect. The provider is now advising that we need a new license as the previous one only came with one installation. Is this fair, and how could we avoid this in the future?
Yeah, I understand the pain with that, whether it's fair. I mean, one of the restrictions with many, with some antivirus options and also just some software in general, is that if they're providing it perhaps as a charity rate, quite often the licenses will only come with one installation. If you were to purchase commercially, when purchasing sort of on-premise software, so things that you have to install on a device, if you're purchasing it sort of full price commercial, most of the time you get multiple activations to avoid issues like that. But with charitable discounts from some of these partners, they only come with one activation, which can be obviously prove problematic when obviously something happens to your device where it becomes defect or stolen or worse or something like that. So with a particular question for antivirus, if you want to avoid that kind of issue in the future, you may want to have a look at a sort of a different provider that would allow you to provision your antivirus licenses remotely or via the cloud, rather than requiring you to physically install a license on the machine and therefore risking that machine to put you in that scenario where you've faced already. And a good example of that is Avast. So Avast allows you, because it allows you to provision your antivirus licenses, or seats as they're sometimes known, via the cloud. You will then, because it's via the cloud, you will be able to assign licenses as to where and when, which device that you want to at any time. Kind of works like 365 if you use that as well. You can just assign licenses to users as and when it's needed, and if a user leaves, you just unassign the license and assign it to a new person. Same kind of deal with Avast. If the device is no longer in use, you can just unassign it for that device, and then you can reassign it to the new device, a replacement device. And that way you don't have to purchase a new license for this new device. You're simply reassigning it from where it was previously to the new device. Same device a lot here. Yeah, that way it keeps your costs to the minimum. You're only paying for what you need to for the year or long term, whatever you're using it for. So yeah, consider moving to sort of a cloud remote sort of installation of for antivirus security. And like I said, we have offers for Avast on that kind of thing as well. So lots of different offers and options for Avast you can check out on Charity Digital.
Thank you for that, Joel. We've had a few questions come through in the chat. So this next one says, has anyone else noticed that GoFundMe no longer has the charity page where people can set up regular donations? It is now purely only for crowdfunding. I wrote to them and they said it was a glitch. Anyway, what fundraising for regular donations should I use? Is that Donor Perfect, Joel?
I mean, Donor Perfect is a CRM which is used to track your donations and that side of things, but I'm not sure whether it'd be a great comparison to something like GoFundMe. What we may want to do, I know that we've got lots of sort of articles based on sort of fund. I mean, we're always doing sort of anything to do with fundraising in article wise. Maybe we could get link a couple of articles as our follow-up email, and that I think might be a good starting point.
Yes. We also, I need to familiarize myself with it. We also have a platform called Infuse, which is a fundraising and events registration platform. Maybe a bit beyond what you need if you're just looking for something to raise funds, but it's worth reading into as well. But as Joel said, I will dig up a few articles. We've got plenty of content on that, and feel free to browse our website yourself as well, just to see what fits your needs. But I will make sure that I send those rounds afterwards as well. Thank you very much. Next, we have Georgina. Georgina says, I'm a comms assistant at a very small charity, a team of 2. We've been looking at our cybersecurity in general, and in our research, we've come across the cybersecurity toolkit for boards from the NCSC, the National Cybersecurity Centre. It seems tailored to much larger charities. Are there any resources that you can recommend which are tailored towards small teams who are less experienced with the technicalities of cybersecurity? Thank you. Great question. And I will again pass it to Joel.
Yeah, that is a great question. The National Cybersecurity are friends of ours, so you may have noticed that we work with them a lot. You may want to speak to them directly. They've got a great team that you can contact directly, as I know that their advice and tools, it's not all geared towards large organizations at all. One of the things that I know they pride themselves on is to provide information that is digestible for charities of any size. If you feel that the information that you've maybe obtained from them, or maybe it's direct from the website, you're struggling a little bit with them, by all means, they do have a contact page. They're very useful for putting you in the right direction, or even sort of explaining some of their terms. So by all means, give them another visit, and they do. Yeah, by all means, contact them directly, and they'll be able to break that down a little bit further there for you.
Yes, and just picking out a few links. May just need to look at the terminology, I think, because it says things like small business guide. So maybe that could be relevant. But as Joel said, they're a really helpful bunch. So definitely get in contact with them. Brilliant. Thank you very much. And then one more that we've had through from the chat so far. So from Ian, how much should we pay for IT support of our IT systems, including 19 laptops? We're about to go from our service to the cloud and negotiating IT support.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of price differences out there. I guess it comes down to how much they are managing, of what you own. So are they managing particular programs? So for example, are they just looking after your cloud licenses? So Office 5, if you're moving to Office 365, are they managing just that instance, or are they managing other parts as well? Like, are they looking after your cybersecurity and the patching, and then any sort of updates of your operating system? Obviously, the more they look after, the more that you would end up paying. But there's various rates out there. I mean, the charges are so varied across these IT companies as well. You might want to, yeah, I mean, you could do a little bit of window shopping and just approach. I mean, a starting point, if you want to look at Click IT, QLIC IT, that might be a starting point, as they do managed services for charities. In terms of pricing, like I say, it's very, very varied. Most of the time, they will tailor it to depending on what you are specifically needing to be looked after. So that could be anything ranging from, you could be paying, say, £50 per user, or it could be device based. So it could be, if you're looking after specific devices, then there'll be all the other fees in advance. So I can't advise an exact pricing for that, but there are there are those out there who can help charities. At Click IT, like I say, could be a starting point there for you.
Brilliant, thank you, Joel. We've got a great question up next. So this is to do with email marketing. I'm struggling to get my email marketing in a good place. What are some common mistakes that charities make which I can avoid to help our organization improve its campaigns?
Yeah, I'll jump in on this. Yeah, I'll jump in on this. Thank you so much, James. Well, I mean, there's loads of common mistakes, and we could do a full webinar on this, actually. So I'm not really going to go into depth here, but I'll just mention a few. So just thinking about the campaign in itself, the template, one would be failing to utilize campaign previews. So the first line of an article needs to grab the reader's attention, and that really needs to be up at top. So it's a preview, and that obviously lets the readers have a taste of the email, and then they can read on it. It's really important also to have it at the top of your campaign so it's visible in the inbox on smart devices. Another common mistake would be not making it easy for your readers to reply. So you really need to have either a button or an email address that's linked to an email address, or it could be to a telephone number as well. If you're using an email marketing platform, a no reply sometimes could be lost. So it's really important to have one in the email there. Try and stay away, I would say, from stock images if you're trying to promote your aims and your mission. Your own images speak 1,000 words. They just will paint a picture for you. So always try and use sort of, you know, images that you have done yourselves, and keep your campaign as branded as possible. And I would say a common mistake is email frequency. Don't lose touch with your audience. It's a common mistake also not to give them the expectation on how much frequency you will be emailing them. So they need to know whether it's going to be monthly or weekly, whatever. And also give them the opportunity to have the feedback on that if they want to cut that down or increase that, but don't lose touch with them. So don't email too infrequently. Another one, I guess, for screen readers really is to always use image titles. And when you've got your images turned off, the title appears and it will read it out for the images. And also your link titles are really important as well. So always bearing in mind screen readers. And also on this one, I will wrap up on the common mistakes is personalization, really. Email marketing is the best tool you can use to be personal and to make your audience feel that they're special and important to you. So you will see an increased engagement and targeting when you use personalization, even if it's just hi and your first name. So yeah, I hope that's helped a little bit.
Great, Liz. Yeah, I think you did a great job of condensing, as you said, what could be a whole hour-long presentation. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, just another quick reminder, feel free to keep sending your questions or any pain points through, and then hopefully we can, you know, talk amongst ourselves and see if we can come up with a solution for your organization. The next one we have is about leadership and onboarding. So I manage a lot of volunteers and struggle with onboarding. What is the best way to produce a welcome pack? So I'm happy to take this one. So it can be tough when you're managing a lot of people or you've got a lot of turnaround to ensure that everything's in one centralized place. I know that when people have joined our organization, because we're a team of 20, but throughout the years, things have changed and there have been people who have been here for 10 years and a lot of the information is in their head. So Alice, who's our COO, found this great company called Guru, and it's a really good piece of software where you can just sort of use it as a knowledge dump. You can just collect it all together. It categorizes it really easily. It's really easy to use. We don't list it ourselves, but they do have non-profit pricing, and it's just been really transformative for our organization. So I'm going to find the link now and post that. But you can have all different categories. You know, we've got one for our team, the other teams have one, and then even just for things like annual leave, if someone's off, there's a full bullet pointed guide of how to do the jobs that you will need to do in their absence. So that's just something that we've found really useful ourselves.
Absolutely, been transformational for us, like you said. Particularly, I think it's improved onboarding as well. Like I said, that we can really create good welcoming packs when you're onboarding someone and training as well. And like James said, a lot of this information has been extracted by some of our long-term heads, that's a term, and really getting it down to help share it across the organization. And yeah, it comes highly recommended for sure.
Thank you, Joel. Then we are looking for a CRM which can help us process our gift aid claims. Currently, it's a very manual process and takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, so we've already given a bit of a mention today, but that would be Donor Perfect again. So Donor Perfect is a CRM, fundraising platform, tracking donations, that kind of thing, but it comes in with a built-in gift aid claims sort of process, which is really, really useful. As I do understand the pain with gift aid claims. I imagine the finance people out there tearing out their hair sometimes processing all that paperwork through. So it can all be like automated as well, which is great. And also it might end up making things a little bit greener as well. It might save some paperwork from your end as well. So it's always good to reduce that footprint.
Brilliant, thank you, Joel. And then we have one more pre-submitted, which is, what product do you provide that could be beneficial for our social media team? So I don't mind talking about that. So with your social media, a lot of the time you will want to have nice looking images or catchy titles or anything like that. There is a program called Adobe Express, which is free for charities, and you can use it. They've got a lot of templates. They've got a lot of free images that you can use to sort of, you know, if you want to search for person typing on a computer, you can search that and there'll be thousands of images. So you can just, it's really useful for creating images. You can create videos. There is something called social media scheduling, which I'm not too familiar with. Joel, do you want to fill us in on that if you've got any more information?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. So with social media scheduling, a bit of a hot topic now. I keep saying this every time I talk about it, so it keeps remaining hot. Basically, it allows you to really plan your social media posts in advance. So if you know you've got that repetitive content, maybe particular events that happen that you post about every year, you can plan that advance. So your social media person can maybe spend an afternoon or however long just focusing on planning that, and that will then relieve their time to be able to post post a little bit more reactively, which is great. Gives them more time to do that, which is so it's really, really, really useful. And just to point out as well that with the offer for Adobe Express, it's not just it is free, but it's the premium version that's free for charities. So that's a really important point, as there's a few different versions, but the premium version is free for up to 10 users of a charity. So yeah, by all means, take advantage of it.
Definitely. Were there any more questions? You can ask them out loud if you like, or put them in the chat. Were there any more? Anyone in the chat? Nothing that I can see.
I can't see any more there.
Yeah.
So
It's at the end.
yeah, shall we wrap?
Yes, I will just quickly post in our little feedback form and the link for.
Oh, we've got a question. Ian, you've got your
Oh, we've
hand
got a
up.
question.
Oh, Ian, you got your hand up. Great.
Yes.
Sorry to be a pest when you were
Not
just
at all.
clearing out.
That's what we're here for.
We at the moment have got Sopros as a virus protector.
At this moment. Oh, there we go.
But I'm told that there's a virus protector on Defender on Micro 365. Is that right? And would that substitute Sopros?
Sure. I'm not too familiar with your current provider, but in terms of Defender, there are two plans of it. So plan 1 essentially protects viruses, but within your 365 instance. So it's more like almost like an email protection side of things, but it's not what is considered a classic endpoint protection. And what I mean by that is protecting the whole device rather than just within your instance of 365. My understanding that Windows Defender Plan 2, it can be used as a whole antivirus, as you like, as both an endpoint protection and email protection as well. The Plan 2 it's not included automatically with any subscriptions. It is an add-on, but it is available out there. I know there's a charitable discount available for charities, which we actually provide it as well. I don't have the pricing directly here, but we can certainly talk offline that for that. Sure, we can send that for you for sure.
Great. Thank you so much, Joel.
Thank you.
Do we have any more?
I've realised I missed a pre-submitted one, which was from a heritage organisation. So as a heritage organisation, we struggle to engage with younger generations. Can you give us some guidance on how we can do this?
Yeah, I can jump on that one because I was actually involved with a heritage program that we did with other partners as well. One of them was a Heritage Alliance. And we have run 2 programs on this. And if you just want to whiz over and put in the search the Heritage Digital Academy, if you are a heritage organisation, then there's lots of resources and lots of sort of webinars that you can look at there. But we do actually have a great and very helpful webinar that I asked James to put in the chat if he hasn't done already, and it was carried out by one of our expert content managers, Johan, which explains how charities can engage with younger generations. And if you didn't want to, you don't have time, you don't want to watch the webinar, then there's lots of great takeaways and advice in the article too. So that's, any more questions from anybody? No? Okay, Joel, you can switch over now to the last slide. Just to remind everyone that our next webinar will be a charity guide to AI. Now, these question and answer sessions are really, really helpful for us as well, because obviously we listen to you and we get a feel of the questions that you have and how we can sort of direct you and guide you the best. We do them every couple of weeks, so watch out for the next one as well. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us and for asking your questions as well. And also don't forget the feedback that you'll receive very soon.